All right, I'm going to be starting us off tonight. I'm going to go a little bit back in time. We're going to go back to the 40s. I'm going to be talking about a man named Madman Muntz. Oh, why did I move that? Okay.
For dramatic effect. Smash it on the table.
Get out! Earl Muntz was born in Elgin, Illinois in January of 1914. From a very early age, Muntz displayed a great deal of ingenuity. At the age of 8, he started repairing radios for his dad and moved on to building radios for himself. And 6 years later, at the age of 14, he built a radio for his parents' car. He showed even more promise a year later at the age of 15 when he dropped out of high school, which was always my aspiration.
You didn't?
I tried, they wouldn't let me. I just wanted to work in a coal mine. At the age of 20, in 1934, he started fixing up and selling old Model T Fords out of a lot in Elgin. And because he wasn't old enough to sign contracts, he had to have his mother sign all the paperwork for him. Mommy, help me. 8 years later, after hearing that automobiles are selling in California for much higher profits, he moved to Los Angeles. Muntz had 2 car lots going. One was in downtown on 11th and Fig, and the other one's in Glendale. I can't really figure out where. Because of the war, one of the wars, the one that happened in the 40s, selling used cars was very lucrative. U.S. car makers started making more war-oriented vehicles like Jeeps, and with that, there was shortage of new cars coming out. Used car dealers were having their day, and thus the used car game became very competitive. Also, a factor was wartime gas rationing, which meant people were selling their cars and Muntz was picking them real cheap. One of the slogans Muntz used was, "Walking is good for you, sell your car to Muntz." Nice try. He took a really risky move when he purchased 13 right-side driver cars with the intent of selling them overseas where they would be relevant. This was blocked by the government because of exports were being affected by the war, but a local newspaper ran a story about his problem and got enough attention that Muntz was able to sell the cars. This was an important lesson in Muntz's life. Attention sells stuff. Get attention.
I'm trying to all the time. That's why I'm here.
The planet's middle child. So
it's called Jupiter.
So Muntz hooked up with a young advertising whiz named Mike Shore to craft copy to get people's attention, utilizing TV and radio in ways that hadn't been used before. They both knew that they had to be vastly different because there was a lot of car competitors out there, a lot of like thousands of car dealers out there. The ads and copy were principally due to Shore, but it was Muntz who had to be charismatic, and boy was he. They went to an animator at Warner Brothers studio, and together they created a logo, which was Muntz dressed in a red Long Johnson Napoleon hat. They called him Madman Muntz. The cartoon image was nice, but they would need to get attention. He better dress up like that. And he did. I kept reading, the thing about Muntz that bothered me was that I kept reading what a wild showman he was, and his advertisements were wacky and all this stuff. And I kept looking, I went into the dark web, there was nothing out there.
But I bought 4 assassins.
Bitcoins, they're nice. He himself never appeared in a billboard or a commercial himself. You heard him on the radio, you saw his cartoon image, but you never saw him. So the Muntz that you want to see was the live Muntz, because he would be dressed up in a Napoleon hat and red long johns.
Human commercial on the street.
The human commercial, yeah. Can we show slide 1, please? That's Muntz there. That's the logo. And we'll get to that slogan in a minute. He'd be known to scream things that potential customers like, "I buy in retail and sell them wholesale, it's more fun that way." Shore and Muntz put up billboards everywhere. One of them famously said, "I want to give them away, but Mrs. Muntz won't let me. She's crazy." I think you're crazy, friend. Can we switch to slide 2, please?
Tell me that's a crazy man.
Convince me. Those eyes aren't real, by the way. By some accounts, they ran up to 170 radio spots a day on 13 local radio stations. They spent $50,000 monthly on these radio and billboard ads, which flooded the LA area. Muntz would do things like advertise for a particular car with a special pricing called the Daily Special. It was a car that had to be sold that day, or else, at the end of the day, he would smash it to bits with a sledgehammer.
And the car's kids had to watch.
This tactic worked because there's no record of him ever wielding a sledgehammer, so people took threats very seriously. There's like 6 cars, don't ruin one. During the heyday of the McCarthy era, Muntz asked if it'd make the front pages if he joined the Communist Party. I don't know, ask the Rosenbergs. At a USC-UCLA game at the Rose Bowl, Madman Muntz paid pranksters to hold out large flashcards that spelled out M-U-N-T-Z, Muntz, for all the fans in the stadium to see. Not only did all his publicity and wild antics prove lucrative, he built and sold $72 million worth of cars in the 40s. So you can buy a Zeppelin, you can buy like a bag of chips, you can take a trolley ride, and then you can still have a dime left over.
For a new car.
For a new car, yeah. But he was also becoming really famous. Muntz lots became part of the bus tours along with stops like the La Brea Tar Pits. He was referenced in 35 of 37 of Bob Hope's comedy radio shows in the span of a year. So clearly, Bob Hope was not doing well. During one bit, Bob Hope pushed an old Model T on stage and said, "I had a little trouble getting here. Madman Muntz chased me for 3 blocks." And just like in Batman, Madman Muntz's advertisement schemes escalated the sales game, and now there was a plenty of men dressing up like Trojans and superheroes trying to sell used cars. In the late 40s, Muntz sold a Hudson dealership to a man in Huntington Park who liked to dress like a cowboy and hang from airplanes and play with tigers.
Maybe I think I'll talk about him.
That's odd.
Please, say no more. Shut up. Keep going.
In 1946, a new invention started becoming a home necessity: television. World War II was over, so Muntz started sniffing around and thinking, money. So Muntz started building, repairing, and selling television sets with a strong emphasis on selling. Here's something I read in a few articles, and I can't confirm it, but it sounds right. Madman Muntz hired skywriters to advertise for his company, but apparently they were running low on gas from so many trips up. So Earl, Madman Muntz, had them shorten the word television, thus coining the term TV.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Chuck. This is your cousin Marvin Berry. You know that new abbreviation we've been looking for? Well, listen to this.
Cool, look in the sky.
He put out a series of animated commercials advertising Muntz TV with a very catchy jingle. Can we play video 3, please?
Factory direct. Muntz to you. No dealer. No direct. Crosses lower. No waiting. No delay. Better, safer, swifter service. Because it's factory direct. Because they are green. There's nothing about
I feel like that's the commercial they were showing in that Apple commercial where he throws the thing through the TV. Like, that's the brainwashing commercial that everyone was watching.
That video makes me want to sell my TV.
to the fascists.
So Muntz TVs were made cheap, but they functioned, and they came out in a time where it didn't have much competition. He was manufacturing and selling 5,000 television sets a month. One antic he'd pull, he'd send a television knobs to customers in the mail with a note that read, "Call me and we'll show up with the rest of the set." I hope it's all put together. In 1952, at the peak of Muntz TV's profits, he was raking $55 million in TV sets through like 72 stores nationwide. With numbers like that, he was able to sell television sets at low prices and still make money from it. Selling TVs would bring Madman Muntz his second multi-million-dollar fortune. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. Throughout his life, Earl Muntz was married 7 times. One wife's actress Joan Barton, who co-starred in John Wayne's 1947 movie Angel and the Bad Man. I don't know which one she was. They had 2 kids together, James Muntz and his daughter. Want to know what her name was? Her first name was T-E-E.
No.
Her middle name was V,
No.
V-E-E. Her name was TV. He placed
Poor
her.
woman.
He placed a baby announcement in the local
What's her number?
He placed a baby announcement in the local newspaper to the effect of, "Muntz is welcoming a new 8-pound model TV." Her mother finally had her name changed to Tina with 2 E's because she knows the difference between a child and an ad. Just to skip a little ahead. Yeah, I know. Great. Fantastic. He's also responsible for the early design of the 8-track tape, especially putting it inside of cars. He came up with a 4-track tape, with a modification of a 3-track tape, and someone took it beyond that, but he still got money from that. That was his 3rd fortune. I think he made $30 million from that, and then he lost all of it.
Sued by his daughter.
She had all the rights were on her side. In his home in Sherman Oaks, he had 14 TV sets. There was one in the bathroom, one next to the pool, and there was one in the utility room. He was still doing wacky things, although not really for publicity. He had an antique Muntz Roadster he drove around the valley with a license plate N-A-M-D-A-M, which spells Madman backwards, so you could see it in your rearview mirror. People were still recognizing him well into his years at Madman Muntz, and they'd shout at him in public. He was still selling car stereos, cell phones, and electronics in Van Nuys until he died in 1987 from lung cancer at the age of 73. Muntz has left a long legacy in Los Angeles and the wacky image of Southern California. Let's not forget that we had a restaurant shaped like a brown hat and a hot dog shaped like a hot dog. It was only fitting to have a man in red long johns and Napoleon hat coining the term TV, which I need to remind you was his daughter's name.
Bye, bye, bye.